Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning on Global Television. This beautiful day, in case you're just joining us, this is the second conversation. And the first conversation was about the jungle justice, the Uromi murder, the gruesome murder of some hunters traveling for Salah, as it is being claimed. Investigation still going on. We'll bring you more follow-up from that story. But now let's go straight to the bills. There's so many bills that were proposed at the assembly. Now, there is this bill that Serap is saying they are not comfortable with, and that is the bill that has to do with Nigerian voters. That if you fail to vote, you get a jail or you pay 100,000 naira or both. I have a legal practitioner joining me as we discuss this matter today on Global Morning. Dr. Oke Ezogo is right here. He is a legal practitioner, and we'll be doing justice to this topic. It's good to have you join us on Global Morning today to talk about this. As it is, Barka de Salah. Do you know that I didn't know that today is even public holiday, because we don't have public holiday, as a matter of fact. You were asking whether you're in court. I was asking him, is he in court this morning, not knowing that today is a public holiday. It's so good to have you join us this morning. Now, let's get to talk about this. Serap is saying the bill, all right, the bill that is mandating, if being passed, is going to mandate Nigerians to vote. Serap is saying it is an infringement on the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, forcing them to vote against their will. And on the other side, there is this constitutional, belief. There is this constitution that said, well, at the age of 18, you've gotten to the franchise age and you can vote and be voted for. How can we separate these two now?
Well, our legislative arrangements have of recent become something like a theater of the absurd. I can tell you that there is virtually no area in this country that we have not legislated. Virtually no area. It has never been. It has never been a problem of legislating, coming out with laws and all that. The problem is implementation. And when you come out with a law that obviously you yourself know you can't implement, it becomes just a child. You make yourself look like you're just playing around and all that. First and foremost, just like Serap said, it's against the spirit of the constitution of this country to force anybody to go and vote in an election. The fundamental thing is choice. I'm talking of choice. Because even when you're going to vote, you're going to choose someone. And of course, fundamentally, that choice, that area where you must choose, because the idea now is that you must choose, even if they come up, even if all the political parties come up with horrible candidates that you don't believe in, you must choose one of them. That's exactly what I say. That's the message that passing across. And I think it is not in the interest of any civilized entity, any civilized country to begin to hazard with things like this. You know, a candidate is not qualified, for instance. A candidate who probably has antecedents of maybe criminal record or fraudulent record, or who have been adjudged as corrupt or something, but maybe because they have what it takes to get to where they are, and then all the political parties now say, okay, A is Mr. This, B this, 3D, and all the political parties come up with similar candidates, who obviously the public knows that they are not going to do anything for the country. Or the person who is being compelled to vote knows that the person will not actually deliver. But you are insisting that he must choose one of them. It's fundamentally wrong. It's against the spirit of the Constitution. We are not in a military regime. Even if in a military regime, I can't remember anybody toying with the idea of saying I must vote. That's one. Two, like I said, it's not about coming up with these laws or legislating. Coming out with one provision or the other. Now, there are so many Nigerians today who are registered voters, but who are not living in this country. Many of them are abroad. There are embassy officials, they are living abroad. There are Nigerian traders, there are Nigerian professionals here and there all over the world. Many of them registered there before they traveled. To the best of my knowledge, we don't have diaspora voting rights. So are you now suggesting that this category of persons must return to the country to vote? And if they must do that, who takes the bill? Who picks the bill? Or they are coming in and all of that?
That's what I wanted asking.
Yeah, who picks their bill? And you are asking them that they must come home to choose whoever. Now, is the diaspora voting part of the component of this legislation we're talking about? I've not seen the details, but if they are conjecturing anything around this idea of everybody must vote, then it means you can vote wherever you are, as long as you are a registered voter. So, is there any provision to that effect in this new bill now? That I cannot say. Sure.
I don't think there is, because before you can have that, there has to be an electronic voting.
If there is none, like I said, it's not about legislating, it's not about coming out with laws, it's about implementing it. It's not implementable. You talked about underage voting, you talked about those who vote at the age of 18 and all of that. Are we not having laws? Of course, the Electoral Act is very clear. If you're underage, you can't vote. Is it all right? Is there? We all know it. But are they not voting? They are.
We saw, after the 2023 election, we saw videos and we saw a lot of evidences. But I wonder why the courts didn't even do anything about it.
In this way. You see, we're having a system where, beyond the provision of the laws, of our constitution, extant laws, and the rest of them, you also have to reckon with the rascality of the political class. Because these children that are voting, for instance, they don't just wake up from their houses and decide to go and vote. Somebody compels them, somebody prompts them to go and vote. Somebody facilitates the movement to the voting centers. And of course, of course, whether you like it or not, there must be some posturing of have this, go and vote. Now, the Electoral Act is very clear. If you, after voters registration and all of that, you go to the INEC or whatever, and then get your card, your voting card. But we're also aware, and we've seen situations where traditional rulers or some politicians will collect cards and be distributing to people. Are you getting me? So it's not about coming up with this law. It's about implementing it. Are we having the political class that love this country so much that they will want to do the right thing? Are we having a political class that will give out, that will opt for this Nigerian interest instead of their personal interests? Because let me tell you, most of the laws you're seeing, we are seeing all over the place. Unfortunately, the legislators who come up with these laws like they are doing now, I can assure you that some of them who are tinkering with this arrangement are looking towards, or must be looking towards 10 years, 20 years arrangement where they think they have escape route. There's always a booby trap. They cultivate it themselves, the political class cultivates it themselves with the intention to jump and pass at the appropriate time. But unfortunately, God has made it in such a way that today you could be in government and tomorrow you're out of government. And when that happens, that's why when you hear some of the opposition leaders shouting and crying and all of that, most cases I don't even listen to them. Why I don't listen? Not because they're not making sense in what they are saying, but some of them took part in coming up with the laws as they are today. Even the conduct of our politicians here and there, that everybody appears to be disparaging. Of course, some of them were part of that arrangement in the past. You understand what I mean now? So, it is not about the law. Our institutions are so weak that we can't even enforce them, even if they pass it through now. Are you getting me? And like I said, do you know, I can comfortably go to the voting center and then thumbprint and take the voting paper inside the cubicle or whatever, and then roll it there without voting, and then come out too.
That is, you pretended as if you voted. Since it's under compulsion, you just pretended, or maybe you make it invalid.
You can decide to.
That's a waste. That means our material has been wasted.
That's what I'm saying.
Time has been wasted.
Are you getting me? And when it happens like that, so many other persons could do the same thing. And like I said, the problem is not about the law. The law, even if it's passed tomorrow, is not implemented because of the things I mentioned now. They should be able to upgrade us to such a level that, you see, it's about our electoral system. We know what to do, but like I said, the politicians want to ensure that they have their way at all times. There must always be a murky area where they must harvest from to achieve whatever purpose they desire. That is what they do.
So now, as it is, with all of this that you've said now, it's obvious that whether or not the bill is passed, the implementation is going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult.
Because that's more like infringing on someone's right.
Yes.
But then, do you think there are things that can be done in Nigeria today that will make people even long for the next election? Oh, let this election come, I want to vote. Like, we can see what happened in 2023, that we had some persons traveled all the way, paid their bills, without anyone making it compulsory. They traveled all the way to vote in the 2023 election, especially for the Labour Party. Do you think there are things that can be done to make Nigerians willingly want to vote, to say, well, I traveled to vote, or election is coming, oh, when would election come again, when would 2027 come, I want to vote. Are there things that can be done, all right, to make Nigerians really want to vote without anyone passing any bill at all?
Let me tell you, when you make someone a citizen and he believes he's a citizen of a country, he will do anything to protect the interests of that country. I'm sorry to say that I've listened to some Nigerians, especially those of them who are abroad, and even those of them who are here, those of us who are here, and people appear to be losing faith in government. You see, instead of compelling anybody to do a thing, when we have good governance, if citizens are treated equally, without recourse to where is this one from, is he a Hausa man or Igbo man or Yoruba man or whatever, if people who are qualified take up appointment on merit, and not because they come from somewhere, if admissions to schools are taken on the basis of equality, I'm a Nigerian, and then we're all on the same table to contest for a thing, and we contest it, and then jobs are distributed evenly, not because you're a son of this or a daughter of that. You will find yourself working in Central Bank of Nigeria or working in FRIS or whatever in some of these NCC and in some of these privileged areas because they are people from privileged class. If an ordinary young Nigerian can wake up and attend an interview with every other person and gets the job, his fate in the country will be rekindled. Of course, it will be rekindled. And like I said, instead of forcing anybody to do a thing like this, like the voting right, first of all, reform the electoral process. We saw what happened in the last election. Without prejudice to the outcome of the election, halfway into the whole thing, they said there was a glitch. Well, whatever that meant, it's for those of them who are there, because I'm not a technician, I wouldn't know what that means. But I also know that in some of the countries, like our nearest neighbor here, Ghana had an election like yesterday. And by afternoon of the following day, the result was out. And in fact, the government candidate considered defeat. Because the man who contested for the government happened to be a former vice president.
Yeah, and that's difficult in some other countries.
That's what I'm saying. Now, let me tell you, if they can reform our electoral system in such a form that the beavers, the IRM, and the rest of them will count, and it becomes possible for me to walk into a station, a voting center, and as I'm voting, the result of my voting is reflected. In that case, it becomes even difficult for anybody to change the outcome of the election, because at a certain stage you would have seen the result already. What I'm saying is that why we have this level of apathy is that there is almost a general consensus that votes no longer count. And I would be surprised if you know that the vote you have, that even when you go there to vote, that you will not count. Why are you going there to waste your time? That is exactly what is playing out. And the political class is uncomfortable because people are not voting. But they are not voting because their votes don't count. Are you getting me?
That's right.
So, what I'm saying in essence is, let them tinker with the electoral system, put in the energy they are putting into compelling people to vote, into upgrading the electoral system and arrangement and all the ICTs, whatever is involved, to make sure that we have the result of elections in record time and without any room for manipulation at any level.
All right, our time is fast spent now. Okay. People who make these laws, people who propose these bills, some persons are saying they have intentions why these bills are being proposed. Maybe because they want to suit their purpose, or for one or two reasons. Allegedly, some persons are even saying, like you've said, even if it is passed, the implementation is going to be difficult, looking at the kind of system that we have. People who make this kind of laws, all right, people who even propose them in the first place, what were they thinking? Or you feel they just want to do it maybe because 2027 is around the corner, they want to intimidate the people, or they want to. But Serap, then what would you say to Serap's?
Well, it is difficult. It will be difficult at this stage to begin to contemplate. To begin to unravel the contemplation of the legislature. The proposers, those who are moving the motion, who are facilitating it, knows why they are doing that. But what concerns me, and I'm sure it concerns so many Nigerians, is make it possible for Nigerians to vote under a conducive atmosphere, away from rancor, away from intimidation, away from using money to buy votes. Do this by providing good governance, ensuring that there is trust in the electoral system, because there is trust deficit in the electoral system. I can bet you there is no election they will conduct today in this country that anybody will think anything good will come out from it. The thing is that everybody appears to have become helpless.
So are you trying to say the Independent National Electoral Commission is not independent? Because they have the audience of conducting.
I am not in INEC and I'm not in government. But I also know that the elections we've had so far, we've not really had what you can call a free and fair election.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not had it.
That's what Nigerians are saying. I thought you were going to differ in opinion.
No, I can't differ. I can't differ because, you see, when there's a transparent system, transparency is not to be seen by a few persons. Transparency is not to be viewed by those concerned, the stakeholders, those whose interests are to be protected by the system. No. Transparency is something that should go down the ladder to the village person in the village. For instance, if you vote in a place in an election and they count the number of votes and they say, okay, those that voted, the number is 100. And then you get to the local government collection center or the ward collection center and you still see the 100. And you check the beavers, check the IRF or whatever, and you still see the 100. And it gets to the state collection center and you hey, you want to vote today. That's what I'm saying. So it's not about whether they have good intention or bad intention. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm aligning with Serap. Whatever they're saying there, yeah, I've read part of their positions and all that. You can't compel anybody to vote. If you must compel anybody, provide an environment that will compel them, and it should be something that is self. It has to come from the person. I know countries that young people are praying to get to 18 years so that they can be eligible to vote. And why are they doing that? Because they want to be part of a system that produces good government. Good government.
But it's different in Nigeria.
That is the point.
Because most persons even go to register for this voting because they can use it as national ID card for registrations and other things.
How many of the voters even collect their voters' cards? Let's start from there.
Yeah, we heard that a lot were not collected.
Will register, but they will never go to collect the cards. So you are talking of those who register but don't collect cards. And now you are talking about compelling everybody to go and vote, even when those who register don't even collect their cards. So what are we talking about?
Well, it's a big challenge right here. Well, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. But so I don't see this bill. I don't see it being passed. Well, Serap is ready up, and they are giving their warnings already. And my guest in the studio is aligning with what Serap is saying. And many thanks for joining us today. Time will not allow us to continue, even though the conversation is so intense and interesting. It's been a legal practitioner, Dr. Okezogo, and he is also an international relations expert. And of course, we are glad to have you talk about the issue of voting and be voted for and refusing to vote and its penalty as it's been proposed in one of the bills so far. We hope to have you join us again in our other programs.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is going to be the size of the second conversation on, as a matter of fact, Global Morning. Today will come on your way again with another edition subsequently. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for joining us. Bye-bye for now.